Click Connect, special Friday Night Audit. Stay tuned. Greg Sullivan, you have got the most amazing shirt I've ever seen in my life. What is that all about?
Hey, that's promoting our other show, 3 Minute Thursday.
Holy shit, dude. What have we done? The mistakes that we're making right now, unbelievable.
You're going to haunt us for years. Are you kidding me?
Hey, Craig Sullivan, how you doing there, buddy? Great to see you.
It's great. How are you?
I'm doing absolutely awesome tonight because I've been home for a few days, and for once, I feel like I might have an idea about what time it is.
So you think you're either dancing in the moonlight or tonight would be a good night for a moon dance?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe tonight I want some blue moon.
Ah, there you go. Then I think it's time for an audit.
Yeah. Hey everybody, welcome to the incredible Friday Night Audit. No, I'm referring to this show, the only show in hospitality where half-assing it is much more than even we expect on a day-to-day basis. That's Greg Sullivan. I'm Glenn Hausman. Thanks for spending time with us as we kick off another weekend. How you doing, bro?
Great. I know you're excited. This is your favorite time of year. You get to have new holiday movies on the Hallmark Channel every Friday from this point forward.
Listen, I have been so excited for this season. I've really been preparing. I've been knitting myself a new sweater, for example. Nice. I've set a trip to a small little town where I'm gonna, go and feel a little rugged, and then probably run into to some woman who had to leave the big city for some reason. And, I'm not going to like her because she's from the big city and I've adopted this, country life. Right. But over time, who knows what's going to happen? Maybe I'll understand her big city ways and she'll understand my country bumpkin being, and we'll have a great relationship.
There you go. Well,
and then we can move it to a different channel, and then my wife could come, and that'll be a disaster.
There you go. Well, in the meantime, Glenn, we haven't done this for a while.
What?
It is time for the ATT Digital PCS box of Glenn's past, since you are technically challenged. So we're going to shake it up, and we're going to see what piece of tech from the past you're going to get. I'm
hoping it's going to be a Teddy Ruxpin this week.
Oh, here we go. Look at this. Glenn.
Yeah.
You got a Nokia charger for some sort of device that this probably doesn't even work with anymore.
Yeah, but God forbid we ever throw out any of these cords, just in case.
So you've got 2 flip phones. You got a book for a first gen BlackBerry.
Yeah.
You've got another phone, I believe, and then this is like your second power cord that does absolutely nothing with anything.
It's fantastic.
You're on a roll, brother.
Speaking nothing with anything, it sounds like our interviewing skills coming up for our next guest. So who do we have on tonight's show?
We've got the Philly fanatic. We've got David from the Modern Hotelier.
Hey, from Philly. Hey, how are you, man? Welcome to the show. Hey, where's Glenn's Mets gear? I would need to have some of that. I did have something 1986 related, but I seem to have lost that along the way. being that it was in 1986.
We're making more musical references.
Yeah, so this is exciting. So, David, I recently found out the baseball playoffs are going on. So that excited me. Plus, the Mets haven't lost yet has been pretty amazing for me.
Yeah, well, the Mets, I mean, obviously, they beat the Phillies, so that was very disappointing, and I'm kind of getting used to that. I actually went to the
welcome to my room.
Yeah, Phillies Diamondbacks series last year. Being here in Phoenix, I got to go to that. The year before, I went to the Super Bowl, and the Eagles lost there. So I'm not really getting. When I first came to Phoenix, the Eagles won the Super Bowl, so that was nice. But since then, it's been pretty much all downhill. But so I'll be rooting for the Dodgers.
There you go. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, we got to do this right. All right, David, what are we drinking tonight? Or what are you drinking tonight?
A little red wine.
A little red wine? That's
very good.
Yeah, and whenever people stress they're having a little, they do not mean that at all. They usually do the exact opposite. Hey, cheers, everybody. I want to apologize to Craig. I had the black gaffer's tape that I was supposed to
We're waiting for an alcohol sponsor, so we're not giving them any
branding. And then I screwed that up. I screwed it right out of the gate, Dave, because I had the bottle up closest I've ever had at the opening of a show. So it was really a big FU to Craig there. He's like, let's do this. And then I did exactly the opposite. So sorry about that.
Well, it's kind of like David participating in our production meetings weekly. I mean, how long have we been doing the show? How many meetings have you been to?
I would say too long. And
twice? 3 times? A lady?
I thought this week he had more value than he ever had before by simply not being there.
Yeah. I'd have to agree with you on that. So, David.
Yeah.
We could not confirm or deny that you throw snowballs at Santa Claus at the end of Eagles games. So would you like to make a statement on that, please?
Yeah. So that's back, I think, in the vet days. But yeah, I mean, I think that Santa Claus was a Cowboys fan. So I'm pretty sure that's why that got out, and that's probably what happened. And plus, back then, batteries were too expensive, or we would have thrown the batteries, because also Philly fans have done that.
Yeah, but they hide them in the snowballs, though.
Yeah,
right?
and you put a rock in there. You don't want to waste batteries. You got all these toys when you're little, but yeah. And up in Philly, so the best story I can tell people is I was a Cowboys fan for about a month. So I was in second grade. I had a friend, and he said, "Oh yeah, I'm a Cowboys fan." I said, "Oh, you are?" And I'm a Cowboys fan too. So I went to the Sears and Roebuck catalog, picked out the Cowboys jacket, and true story, my step grandfather was a one-eyed Polish drunk, great guy though, who I really respected, and he came over our house, and I was coming home from playing with my friends with my Cowboys jacket on, and he looked at me and he said, "What are you doing with that?" He goes, "You're an Eagles fan. Take it off." That's all he said. And I was like, 8, 9 years old. I took it off, put it in the closet, never wore it again.
Wow.
A diehard Eagles fan. So
I had an Oakland Raiders jacket when I was a kid because I liked the logo. Yeah. So there was that. I think that was before they moved to LA, then before they moved to Oakland, then before they moved to Vegas.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Oh my God. Well, yeah, I'm fond of reminding Rams fans that the Los Angeles Raiders were the first NFL team to win a Super Bowl. Is that right? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I have no recollection of that. I'm gonna have to take a Dave, producer Dave, on that one.
That was BG before Glenn.
Yeah. Too funny. So wait, go for it, Craig.
I was going to say, David, you and Steve Karen have been hitting it out of the park with your show. How did you guys get together?
Yeah, so through a venture capitalist connected me to an Indian-based company, property management system, cloud-based. It was coming to the States. Yeah. I met them, said, "Hey, look, at the time I was doing advisory work. I'm happy to advise you. We started talking. They said, look, we really need to get more traction. What are you thinking? And I said, I've been around a long time. Everyone's got a podcast. Why don't we do a podcast? I said, but I don't want to do it alone, because if I leave, I'm an advisor. You should really have an employee. I said, so Steve was the head of sales. I said, so why don't Steve and I do it? It's a nice dynamic, younger guy, Western guy, Northeast, older guy. And so we kicked it off, and we created a format that we thought was a little unique and different. And the company decided they were going to go back to and focus on India. And so we actually purchased the podcast from them and have kind of made it our own and just kept chugging away. And Steve's a great guy, a great partner on the podcast, and we've been very fortunate to interview some really good people.
Yeah. What's it like actually running a good podcast? I'm curious.
Yeah, and I always hear that about you guys and your podcast. Yeah. Well, the biggest thing is, the biggest thing is.
Wait. Here we go.
Hey, we both hit it at the same time, Craig. Yeah, I was in stereo.
But I always tell people
that rumor's coming up again that we share the same brain.
Yeah. But the challenge is, it's really like any good, I'm a little bit of a nerd when it came to it. So I did a lot of research. I watched a ton of Larry King and everything. And you learn is that,
right.
The good host, you talk less, ask good questions, be able to be quick on your feet. And the guest really kind of can make or break the show. And we've been very fortunate to have some good guests. We've had some that we couldn't air the episode. And we had some that no matter what we asked, they plugged their company. We could ask them, what color is the sky? And they said, well, my company, we have that color sky and blue in our office, and we do this. And it was like, dude, we're trying to just we're trying to ask you a question as a human being, not as a spokesperson. So,
but that's kind of the fun about doing the podcast, because you never know what you're going to get, right, David? Because it can be scary at first, but once you get used to it, you figure it out. We've had some real clunkers of a guest that are just like dead on arrival, and that's horrible on one level, but it could be kind of fun if you figure out a way to try to dig yourself out of the hole, because you got to go X amount of minutes, because you've got to respect that person that's taking time to do it with you and give it your all. So I find it fun to try to dig deep and try to still find something out of it. Most of the time it's a complete fail. That it is what it is, but you just got to go for it. But then what I love, David, is ones where you're like, this will be all right, and then it's a banger. You didn't expect it to be so hot. The person was great, the topic was great, and then just magic happened, and it was a real big surprise. That's my favorite.
That's always nice. Yeah.
And we had, it's very funny because this was our third season, our first guest. We were interviewing, and at the end, he said, I got a question for you guys. And we said, oh, this is different. And so we basically answered the question. And as soon as we got off, Steve and John, our producer, and I said, guys, this is fucking gold. I said, we're going to do that at the end of every episode. We're going to turn the tables. And we've done that. And it's been a great part. So we've added a couple things. Like we added the turn the tables, and we've added where our producer listens to the whole episode. He gets to ask the last question as kind of the fly on the wall. So you're right. And the toughest thing is I tell people is that I think once you start doing the podcast, it changes how you talk to people you meet. When you go to dinner with new people, you start to understand how to ask certain questions and maybe kind of loosen people up or get them talking. But you're right, Glenn. I mean, and also the thing is you can ask the same question and one person can give you a 15-second answer and somebody could give you a 10-minute answer, the same exact type of question. Oh, yeah. And when you start, you're screwed one way or the other. There's no way you can get through what you want to ask.
Hey, especially if that 10-minute doesn't know how to breathe at all. And he can't even just kind of jump in there and interrupt them. Hey, Dina, she says, sorry. I've been on with Steven and David. It was great. And they were my first podcast. So a special place in my heart.
That was fun.
That's great. Yeah, she was great. It's a great company. And she was a great guest.
Yeah, she was a great guest on here as well. And I've done a couple of segments with her, and she'll be coming up on a Full No Vacancy show soon enough. So what's it like running a company and a podcast at the same time?
It can be challenging, but it's fun because the good news with that is they're complementary. So basically we get to interview people that, no matter what, they might be a client in the future, or they're a prospect. And I always tell people, if I'm advising or people talk to me, I said, hey, look, you should be watching podcasts because you're learning about these people that you're selling into. So you can craft your email. If you run into them at a trade show, you can say, hey, saw you on No Vacancy. You did a great job. I love the fact that you, whatever it is, or I saw you on the Modern Hotelier. So these are things that are great, but it's just time management. And so I'm used to working a lot of long hours. So I'm good.
So, David, I want to start a brand new segment on this show where we get somebody on to critique your performance so far in this show. So we got Steve Karen over here.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Steve.
What's up, guys? How are we doing? I actually thought I was logging into the Miller Lite enthusiast Zoom, and I saw you guys appearing. But hey, how we all doing?
No, you turned into the sad and desperation brigade over here.
And I finally thought I was done with Steve today. Thanks, Glenn. Thanks, Greg. I'm done with him. It's over. And then here it is. My afternoon.
Just here to ruin your weekend.
Are always about making people's dreams come true.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Steve, how are you feeling about Philly's performance over there so far?
I feel like so far he's been a vet on here. It's like he's done a podcast or two before, but I'd say besides the Philly jersey, he's done a great job.
It's always tough when you do a podcast together and your team beats your co-host team on the first game of the season in Brazil. At those the dynamics really kind of,
when I was going out to the lodging conference, it was awesome. The Jets game was on at 9:30, and I was on the plane, and I got to watch the whole thing. That was awesome. But the bad news is, I also got to watch the whole thing. I was really hoping it would be like, sorry, satellite not available, but no, I got to see every.
Well, the good news is, I don't know if you heard, Glenn, but they said if they don't win this week, they're going to sign Jesus, because that's the last piece that would actually get the Jets over the hump. That was the last thing that would really get them. Yeah.
There we
Wait,
go.
Isn't that Aaron Rodgers?
That's the first coming of Jesus. Now this is that was the Old Testament. Now
no. Maybe with the long hair on the Packers.
I think that's the their new receiver. So I think he's the one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So, but was Jesus really a white man? I don't know.
I would argue. Who knows?
There you go.
I wasn't around. But
you feel like it from time to time. I know that.
I haven't met many Jesus's that are white, though. That's much I could say. All right, Amy is saying, "Hey, go Phillies!" So we got that going for you over there, David. So that's exciting. I really like everybody gets so into football, and even though I have no idea what's going on too much, I still it's such a great sport to hang out with people, because there's it's 3 hours, but there's 9 minutes of football, so it's really just about hanging out at the bar and with your friends and stuff like that. And people make fun of baseball for not having much going on.
Oh God, yeah. That's all day. But David, what's going on with your team? I mean, they're 0-20 since last season or something.
Well, we're 3-2 right now, but yeah, we had a tough stretch. We've got a head coach that is he's trying too hard. We've all known people that we've worked with where it's hey, just take it easy. It's going to be okay. And right now, he shaved his head during the bye week. And then he started, which is a stupid mistake. He started jawing and going after the Philly fans.
That's not smart at all. Yeah.
And so, it's really tough, because when it's your team, especially when the coach is at least taking you to a Super Bowl, you kind of have this little bit of a grace period where you're kind of okay, this guy, he's younger. He's kind of making some rookie head coaching mistakes. But I think the team's got a lot of talent, but it's just not translating to the field. So anyway, so it's kind of you look at the Jets, you look at teams, but this is also mean, the NFL, what they do a great job of, the NFL does a great job, especially through the salary cap, of making sure that majority of teams are somewhat competitive.
Yeah.
So, the movie On Any Given Sunday, the NFL is one of those things where, in the regular season, anything can happen. Whereas in most sports, the playoffs, you kind of have a feel of the way things are going to go. Yeah. But the NFL does a great job of making sure it's entertainment. They got 17 games now. I tell people when football's over, I get 17 hours a week back.
Yeah.
Well, I do. And the withdrawal factors. And, but looking at your team, I mean, you got a great quarterback. I mean, he was lit up the league the past two seasons. But when they started that downhill slide, now I don't think Philly's in the same position that the Cowboys are in. I think the Cowboys are just, their window is closed. They paid certain people way too much money, and they let those negotiations go on way too long, where they could have clipped it earlier, had some money for the cap, and brought in some supplemental players to help them. But I don't believe they're designed to win a championship at this point. I think Philly is, but the coach, I'm not sure he makes it through the season. I don't know if the fans are going to re-embrace him after that stunt. And
so I will tell you one, Jeff Lurie has never fired any coach in season.
Yeah.
So he's a pretty patient owner. He actually
neither's Jerry Jones, but
and I don't think Jerry Jones is going to fire Mike McCarthy. So I think it's a situation where, look, it's the NFC East is stronger now. Washington's got a great new quarterback. The Giants have actually been okay.
Yeah.
The Cowboys, who the hell knows? Even though I hate the Cowboys, you almost feel sad for them because they've got an 80-something-year-old owner who's the GM who's threatening to fire a radio host, and you're like, dude, just let the people. That's the worst type of. And again, if we want to try to connect it back to our industry, the worst type of CEO or manager or whatever you want is the guy that tells you how to do your job, and he should be the owner and let people who are qualified to do the job do the job.
Yeah.
And that's really it. And so, I've hated the Cowboys for a long time. I root for the Eagles and anybody who plays the Cowboys. And, luckily we won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles. And so for me right now, if the Eagles don't win, I'm rooting for Detroit, other teams that I know the pain they've gone through, that I'm like, hey, like win, make your fan base feel good.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Steve, do you got any comments on football?
Oh man, I'm a Packer fan. This is just what we do. Jordan Love coming back. We're gonna have a third straight Hall of Fame quarterback. Everybody said last year we don't have any wide receiving core. This year they're saying we have the deepest wide receiving core. First week was a fluke against the Eagles, and looking forward to the NFC Championship.
I got to tell you, for Glenn's sake, I'm really hoping that Devontae and Aaron are on the same page starting this weekend.
And all I could add to this conversation is I'm just happy I got 3 of the 4 fish shows for the holiday. No matter how the Jets perform, I'm all set.
You're all in. You're all in.
I don't know. You're gonna put it together. Glenn, I'm gonna bat on your side for this one. I had an argument with my best friend about if we should put a wager on the Jets before they sign Devontae Adams. And I'm all about it. He said, no. They're a trash team either way. I said, on behalf of my best friend, Glenn Houseman, that's not true. So I had your back.
Nice.
But I think y'all are going to the playoffs. I think you guys are going to the playoffs. So we'll see. We'll see.
It's very exciting. There was one good sort of year, I think it was like 8 or 9 years ago or something like that. There was like a little glimmer of excitement over there.
That was Sanchez in the butt tuck.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
They had to remove him from the lowest. What was that called? The lowest play of the week or something like that, because it went too many weeks in a row. That's the only play they ever had to retire without the fans voting to replace it as number 1. So that's some record of Proud of.
Hey,
That's great.
SC is not known for quarterbacks. Okay.
So I do want to tell everybody. Usually, I have just enough football knowledge to get through cocktail party conversations of like 2 minutes, right? Because I just repeat what they just said in the conversation before. But now I'm outside my element for sure. Yeah. The only thing I could say is I want to go back to something that Amy said. I'm gonna bring something up, Dave, in the background. The Commanders, Redskins, have also turned around since they canned Dan Snyder, which is the point with the Redskins, because I was looking at baseball stuff because I heard the Mets were doing well, and I'm like, Guardians? What is this? Guardians? I don't remember hearing anything about expansion team or something like that. Then I realized they were the Indians and stuff like that. So I didn't know I missed that they changed their name and all of that kind of stuff.
Glenn, you came that close to getting a Liz Wolfe out of Steve. That close. So I think you should play that Liz Wolfe beautiful footage right now.
All righty. I will do that. Where is that clip? Hold on.
As we have Dave.
Oh.
Yeah, but Glenn, we winterize you every year. I mean, as soon as all the chemicals are put in the pool, we put you in there and you stop aging as well.
You can't do that. You can't just sit up and drink. Yes. Our first spit chase. Awesome.
That was good.
Liz Wolfe has officially become a meme on Friday Night Audit.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. Well, David, I just wanted to make sure you were doing all right here. I've been on this show before, and I know these guys can be a little rough around the edges, so I wanted to make sure you're doing okay. So with that, I'm going to let you guys have a great time. Have a great
Peace
weekend,
out.
and I will see y'all later.
Bye.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, Steve's a great guy. I've been very, very fortunate. I mean, he could be my son. That's how old I am. So
that's nice. I personally, I don't care much for him, but
I hear a lot of that. I try to.
That's twice. You almost got 2 of them.
You're bringing me back on. I'm out of here.
Nice.
Or he put his headphones back on.
I'm out of here.
Bye.
Do a spit take, Steve, and then we'll let you out.
Yeah, that was good.
So that's great that you guys have such great chemistry, because that's so important to have chemistry with the co-host, because I think it adds so much more to a show. Like, I love doing
we've got
shows.
none, so
right, like while I like doing interviews alone and stuff like that, when like I have someone like Craig to play off of or Anthony to play off of, I think it just adds to it and just makes it so much more interesting.
Yeah, that was probably the best time ever on our season 1, our podcast, because Anthony and I, we both worked for the hotel group, same group in New York City in the 90s. And so I know all this shit. And I just said it with a straight face. He had no idea that the question was coming. And I just said, Anthony, I said, why don't you tell the folks at home what it means to be a missile pilot?
Yeah.
And he was in the Air Force. So when he would go out with his friend to the bar, all the girls would ask them, what do you guys do for the Air Force? And they say, we're missile pilots. And they say, missile pilots. And they would say, how do you think the missile gets to the destination? We ride the missile, and then we parachute off before it gets there. But he had no idea. He forgot that I stole that nugget from like 15, 20 years ago and had it. And then straight face just dropped it in. So he lost it. It was
oh, God, that's funny. Oh, my God.
That's the best. So
it's like Dr. Strangelove. I'm seeing that ending with the bomb coming out of the plane. Oh, my God. Oh, that's give Anthony that cowboy hat. He could be swinging it around right in that missile.
Yeah. So, David, how did you guys meet? What were the circumstances with this hotel group? You don't have to say company names, but I'd love to hear the story.
No, it's okay. I mean, look, we both worked for, at the time, it was called the Empire Hotel Group in New York City.
Yep.
He was the GM of the Lucerne, and I got the role of GM of the Belvedere. This is 1997.
Which was the best hotel?
His hotel was by far better. I kind of got the I got the cleanup. I got we're renovating, we're cleaning up, we're selling IT rooms for $55 a night, and we had like 100 permanent residents, and people would be we had people coming to the front desk in their pajamas, paying their rent.
Nice.
And fucking rolls of quarters and fucking $10 bills. And
I just did that in a hotel last week, just to keep them sharp.
It wasn't the affluent person that decided I'm not mowing a fucking lawn or dusting anymore living at your hotel. Is that what you're saying?
Well, people don't understand that New York City has a single room occupancy law. And if you stay in a hotel room, I don't know if the law's changed, but from like the 50s on, if you stayed in a hotel in New York City for more than 28 days, you could demand a lease. So what happened is when the economy dipped, these people would basically stay for like $10, $5 a day, and then they would submit paperwork and say, I want a lease. So we had people, there was a woman living in the Plaza Hotel up until maybe 15 years ago, paying $300 a month rent in the Plaza Hotel. And so it's morbid, but we either bought them out or they died. It was, or we put up with them, and we got them admitted, because we had people that were crazy that we basically had to have come. And so I was part of this regime of changing the hotel. We renovated it. We became a great hotel.
This is back in the 90s.
Yeah, this is 1997, and
That's awesome.
This is when Giuliani was kind of cleaning up.
I was just about to say, I think we got to take a 2-second pause for a little history lesson over there, because the 1990s was such a unique and interesting time. Because when Giuliani came in, before he went crazy, freaking cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, he was all about like trying to like figure out how to stop crime. He got rid of those horrible windshield wiper dudes. He really prescribed the broken window theory, and they put all of this effort into reinvigorating the city. And they did a great job with cleaning up the streets and Times Square, and then Disney buying into it. And it really helped propel the city to great heights. So at that time, though, it was kind of like there was still a lot of like crazy prostitution on the West Side, right? And you were dealing with like real raw 70s style stuff, but it was kind of like the closing act of that era, right?
Yeah. So the 2 or 3 people that are listening, when I was working at,
hey, that's that many? We set a record.
Come on. Anyway, just joking. But when I ran the Mayfair Hotel, we were between Broadway and 8th Avenue,
right?
And people called and said, "Where are you?" And we would give them our address, 242 West 49th Street. And they say, "Are you west of Broadway?" And we said, "Yeah, we're west of Broadway." They said, "Oh, no, we can't come. It's dangerous." And they'd hang up, because this is before the internet. So, I mean, we were like a minute walk to look and turn and see the big TV in Times Square. That's
what my mom told me about going above 93rd Street when I lived on 90th Street in the 90s.
But now, I mean, it's New York. So I was there. I mean, it was, to be honest, it really was, when like you just kind of end up being in the right place at the right time. This was, I mean, I came to New York out of college, and it was the Yankees were turning around and becoming a great team, and the city was behind them. And then Giuliani cleaned up the place. And, when you were talking about prostitution, the funniest thing was that when the project on 42nd Street was called Ewok, and that's where Disney and everything was combined.
Yep, I forgot that name.
Yeah, and there was a big gaming arcade, and it said you can still have fun in Times Square for 25 cents, because all the porno places were like these booths.
Well, I would walk down 42nd Street. It was like you want drugs, you want the adult movies, you want fake IDs and stuff like that.
Hey, how about a Rolex?
I did get the fake ID. It was very McLovin back in the day.
David, our producer, won't get that.
So one of the cool things about that project that I remember was they physically lifted a building. It was a historic theater where Abbott and Costello performed, and they moved it all the way down, and then they combined it, and they built a new building around it and made that the entryway to a huge movie theater complex, which was pretty cool. And in the original seating in the balcony, they would hold events and stuff like that, which is pretty neat.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's very cool.
Yeah, man, New York during that time, I mean, I was very, it was very, so I was in New York for that that change. I was in New York on 9/11. I was in New York for the blackout. I was in New York during an earthquake where I was in the top floor of my company and the building was moving.
Woo!
And it was funny because East Coast people are like, "Oh, get out of the building," and people from California are like, "No, stay in the building because shit's gonna fall on you and kill you."
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
See,
So
now they do have a law out that Glenn and I cannot be in Manhattan at the same time anymore. So,
after the fish show.
The fish show, Madison Square Garden. God, that was fun.
I can't believe they brought city council in for a special session just to make that declaration.
Just to make that happen. I mean, we didn't do any property damage. We didn't yell at people. We just had fun.
I know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh well. What are you gonna do?
What was it like having you and Anthony in the same company on a Monday morning weekend after a weekend when everybody set the place on fire?
Yeah, so Anthony will tell the story much better than I, but the one of the owners just said, I guess he pulled Anthony aside and he said, he goes, everybody, you and David are, you guys are doing a great job. He said, but he's like, David is kind of like the poodle. Everybody wants to be around him, wants to pet him. And he said, and Anthony, he's like, you're more like the pit bull. Like they understand that you're a dog and you're nice, but they're very nervous about coming up to you and petting you. We just had, we both had similar results, but Anthony was just, especially as a GM, was very, very, very intense. I mean, I remember he became my client, and I remember we were having a conversation in the lobby of the Algonquin, and this is before we really became good friends. We were friendly, but we were just we knew each other.
Yeah.
And,
you're more colleagues than friends.
Yeah, and I'm watching him, and as I'm talking to him, I kind of can feel that something's shifting in him. And here, the phone had been ringing at the front desk, and nobody picked it up.
Ooh,
and you can imagine. Anthony, he goes, "I'll be right back in a minute."
Yeah.
And he just jumped up, reaches over the front desk, picks up the phone, says, "Front desk, Anthony speaking. How can I help you?" And that was his intensity, that no matter what he was doing, his eyes were looking and seeing and hearing. And I had similar, I'm not easy to travel with going into hotels, but we're very complimentary, but we're different intensity levels. He's very,
I have the same issue.
Yeah. My family stopped traveling with me into hotels and airlines a long time ago.
Yeah. So check this out, Dave. I'm going to bring up this quote. Daniel's 1997. That was a great year. I got married, and I remember having 2 racks in my office with 24 VCRs that I had to play and change tapes every week on for movies. I totally forgot that's how in-room movies were done back in the day. Do you have any experience with that, David?
Yeah, Spectrovision. Remember
Yeah.
Spectrovision?
Oh yeah.
So Spectrovision, I first was kind of rudely awakened to that because we had a night manager. I worked at the Park Inn on 57th Street. That was my first job out of college, and now it's the Holiday Inn 57th Street. And you take breaks, you walk around. I was working the graveyard shift as the assistant front office manager, and then I went down to kind of like where the night auditor dude was doing his stuff, and he just had the cabinet open, and he picked all the movies that. And he had them on the TVs and all the movies that you didn't want anybody to know you paid for when you checked out.
I was about to say, how many people? What percentage of people accidentally got adult movies?
Yeah, accidentally, Glenn.
Yeah.
So that was
and what was the average amount of time that was watched?
I don't even know if it was that sophisticated, but I think the movie was like
53 minutes on Debbie Does Dallas, and that shows up on the folio.
It would always have they would never put the name. I think on the folio it would never have the name. It would have movie 6 or something like that. But it was interesting time.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Yeah. So anyway.
What other ancient technology comes to mind? I mean, besides the VCRs that you had to deal with day to day as a GM back then?
Beepers.
No cell phones.
Yeah,
Glenn's got one because we had to take away his phone. He couldn't figure out how to use it.
It was very complicated. Oh, it's just going off now.
So as a New York,
vibrating.
That's why. Why do you think I have to keep the beeper?
Yeah, so,
That's why you're smiling.
all right, have another beer.
Hey, don't call me.
No, but the funny thing was, as you were a GM, you'd go out, and this is another technology, not technology, but your beeper would go off. So what'd you have to do? You had to go to the payphone.
Right.
You had to make sure you had money for the payphone. So your beeper would go off, and then you had to go to the payphone because back then, there was a period of time where there weren't very many cell phones or they're too expensive. So you had to go to the payphone and call the hotel to find out, like, why are you beeping me? Because all the beeper did was say so-and-so,
right.
You to call them. So you're now fighting
that
through a
payphone
bar.
was all slimy.
Yeah, and you're like, hey, what's going on? And like,
you're holding it away from your face.
Yeah, but our generation has no idea that, like, it was a big deal when a payphone call went from 10 cents to 25 cents.
I was going to say that.
And remember, you used to do collect calls, and you would say, you'd say, call me back, it's David, and hang up, and then the person would call you.
Yeah. It used to be for my I would call my parents, and I'd be like, hey, this is Mr. Bolin Ali. And then my dad would just come pick us up at the bowling alley.
So people have, I mean, it's very funny because I talk about it a lot with, and then you take technology into our current world and you look at salespeople, and I try to explain to them, look, I know we were talking earlier, I know it's tough, but you have LinkedIn. We had nothing. Yeah. We didn't know the person's name, where they were.
We had a spreadsheet.
Oh, we had a Rolodex, bro. What are you talking about? We live in large.
Try selling into a hotel. They wouldn't even. You would think that the GM was some prince of some. Can I get your GM's name? No, I can't give you that information. Excuse me, because we would try to mail. Oh,
thanks,
there's DJ. Okay, but it's but you think about the stuff, the way it moved. Again, you're going from beepers and payphones to now. You're basically, you can change rates and you can close out your hotel and you can do whatever you want from your phone, versus, so it's obviously times have changed.
Hey, CJ, I want to know, is your flight on time, or you can have another 17-hour delay? Yeah,
this delays only happen with you though, Glenn. I think it's rather curious.
Delays only happen with him.
Yeah, it's his fault.
He talked it. Listen, ask CJ. He will tell you he's like, everyone thinks he's cursed this year. He's having a bad travel year, and I wish him the very best.
2 out of 3 trips were with you, and they were delayed.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That is.
It is.
All right, he hit that time. Thank goodness. I'm really glad to hear it. All right. You see, see? No, it's me, not Glenn. Smiley, laughing face. Yeah. I don't know what's going on. He's cursed this year. And again, thoughts and prayers. I send him my very.
That's that change of identity from CJ to Christopher.
Yeah. So, David, you're saying the younger guys, they have LinkedIn, all of these things, but that's not really a real relationship. How do you see the younger generation really creating actual relationships that will hopefully yield them results over time?
No, yeah, good question.
Yeah, no. So I see. So again, I think LinkedIn just can make it easier to build that relationship, because before you meet someone, you can actually, and if you know you're going to meet them, you can start doing a little research, know what college they went to, know where they worked, but.
Yeah. Which is very important regarding sports conversations. You need to know the college. Go on.
And you can, and it's fun because you can be wrong.
If you're a Bulldog or a Trojan, okay? Come on.
Yeah, but you can also then assume that they live in Denver and say, "Oh, you're a Broncos fan." They say, "No, I moved to Denver. I'm a diehard Jets fan or whatever." So, but for me, it's just some of the common sense stuff. Just really listening, learning about people, asking questions. The in-person events are very, very important. I mean, Zoom and all these things are great, and a lot of people. I was a little upset with, I won't name names, but somebody was kind of bashing trade shows and said it's just where people go to get drunk.
Name them. Come on.
No, not just to get drunk. That's just the benefit of going to trade.
That's a byproduct.
Like, there's no real business that's being done. I said, look, this is
that person is doing something wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And so this is a place, these trade shows where you get to meet people, see them face to face, and a lot of times it might not be a prospect; it could be a client. So. Yeah, I think with this generation, it's just important to remember, simple things. like a thank you email, like you interview somebody, sending an email right after saying, hey, thanks for taking the time. We really appreciate it. I'm excited about your company. Little things like that people, used to do handwritten notes and stuff. And for me, it's all about the effort. It doesn't cost anything to be nice and to just follow up.
Right.
So.
I think the perfect thing to do online is to friend someone, and as soon as they accept, send them a note selling them something.
100%.
Works every time.
There you go. There you go, Glad.
Yeah.
I love it.
I don't
Great
even
idea.
I'm being cheeky, but like I don't understand why people think that is a thing. And I'm curious. I've been like, not to get too much psychoanalyzed, but I wonder if it's coming from a place of insecurity where they have to like get stuff done, as opposed to I realized when I was younger, nobody gave an F about me, and I spent a lot of years building relationships, and it really took years and years and years of being out there and building trust.
Yeah.
How do you see it?
Yeah, well, I was going to say the biggest mistake the next generation is making is email and email cadences. And what I mean by that is they automate the, hey, blah, blah, blah. Hey, I guess you're not interested. Hey, blah, blah, blah. Hey.
Right.
And it's like, dude, it's like, just pump the brakes. Like, I don't need 6 emails from you. Like, I don't need it. And you don't know you haven't done any research on me. Your emails suck. There's no thought process in your email. You're now basically insulting me, telling me that I'm not your friend or I don't like you anymore. Or I guess I'm going to mark you as closed lost. It's like, I don't give a shit. Like, just fucking take some time and build a little bit of a relationship.
Be original.
A lot of people that just are like, I'm going to build my email cadence and I plug it and, I just hit 1,000 people. My job's done. I did my sales. I reached on. What'd you do this week? I outreach to 1,000 people. Okay, well, what do you mean by that? And
what were your results? What was
how many of those people are annoyed by just some stupid email that has nothing to do with what they do? I get these all the time. And the only saving grace for these people is I get so many of them, I can't get annoyed at any of them, and I forget who they are pretty much immediately. But it's very frustrating. Correct?
I was going to say, David's right. I mean, when I was working for various companies, public held or private, my mantra was to always have something coming across their desk, whether it was electronic, thank you card, a voicemail, something. Plus I knew them. It was about developing that relationship. You knew how many kids, what their names were, their birthdays, their wife, and you'd send things to them that you knew that they'd be interested in. I don't know if he's a troll or a stalker on one of the social media platforms, but he puts the same motherfucking message on every post that I do. Everyone. And it's like, okay, the first 50, it was semi-cute, humorous. But now it's just like, okay, I just got to fucking ignore him. And the next stop is to block him. So, and you've never heard Glenn's hearing this for the first time because I've never brought it up before.
Yeah. No,
but
I didn't know this was burning your soul like it. This.
But it gets back to, like those cadence emails. It's just like, Jesus Christ, stop. There's a reason I'm not answering you. You're trying to sell me detergent. And why? Did you even look at my fucking bio to see what I do? No.
The way I handle a lot of these situations, only when I know they haven't done any research on me, whatever. When they send me something, I send them something back going, thank you so much. I'm really excited that you want to advertise with me. This is going to be a great relationship. And I send them my my media kit. And I said, I can't wait to discuss it. Let me know how much you want to spend, and we'll figure it out. And then I never hear from them again. So it's awesome.
What about the sign you used to post? You had a guy that that you said your reply was a guy holding a sign. It said, "Thanks for trolling me," or
I ran into a little legal problem. He was not the type of guy I needed to really represent me. So I reworked it. I originally sent the job overseas, but then I had then I brought it back on shore, and that's working much better.
Okay.
Now.
I was told and it does work. I will tell you, it's kind of crazy, but since I'm wearing green, I'll share the story. If you're reaching out to someone and they don't respond to you, if you send them like a meme of Kermit the Frog, most 9 out of 10 times they will reply back to you. Like, so if you it's not an email cadence, but say you do a demo, the person says this is great, you write back, hey, you said you like the demo, but and it goes, and if you send them like a Kermit the Frog meme,
right,
like 9 out of 10 times, I was told, and I've tried it a couple of times, it's worked really well. They will respond like right. There's something about Kermit the Frog that people are like, if this person's going to Kermit the Frog me, I'm going to have to respond. I don't know what it is, but
I want to Kermit the Frog either smoking a joint or having a half bottle of whiskey empty in front of him and send.
There's one where he just turns his head. There's one where he's driving and he just turns his head, and it's one of those where, it's just. You take that time. How do you? It's like when you send somebody a picture of a cricket, like because they haven't responded to you. It's like okay, I gotta reply now. So anyway, that's just useful. Maybe useless.
Funny.
Oh. Yeah, I've learned the best way to get people to not reply to you anymore is to tell them how much it'll cost.
Yeah,
you never hear from me again.
Bye.
That's cool.
For sure.
Oh my God, that's too funny.
So, David, what do you like most about being a CEO?
I like problem solving, and most of the time, no matter what, at the end of the day, you're trying to solve a problem. And I always tell people I'm very fortunate because I don't say this to be a prick, but a lot of when people say, what do entrepreneurs? What's the biggest mistake most entrepreneurs make? Mm-hmm. And I say they assume they should be CEO because they have an idea.
Right.
And I got very fortunate because I was a hotel GM that moved into tech, that I kind of had the muscles that, I knew how to manage, sales, and I had reservations, front desk, I had maintenance, I had the bellman and things of that nature. So I'm just again, we're in hospitality. I love people, and I love being able to try to help people. I'm very big on the whole idea of surround myself with the best possible people, and don't micromanage them and let them just do what they want to do. And sometimes, people will be like, at first they're like, oh, he doesn't really care. Like he just, and then people who work with me for a while, like, no, I get it. He trusts me.
Right.
We just had a situation the other day where just yesterday, somebody on my team came to me and said, hey, small group, there's no real money there, but I really like their mission because they donate part of their profits to charity, blah, blah, blah. And I said, what do you want to do? And she said, oh, I'd like to, can we do something for them? And I said, why don't we do this? They have 2 small properties and they have this other unit. I said, let's not charge them for the other unit, but tell them what we would charge them and tell them to donate to that to the charity that they're.
There you go. Love it.
And they were like, okay, great. And they're like, well, I'm going to do this. I'm like, go do it. And I always tell people, sometimes I have too much trust because I actually approved a press release where my last name was misspelled because I trusted the people, and the I's and L's are so close together.
You have so many I's and L's going on.
I can't even tell what the hell's going on there. I don't know if the I, the L, whatever.
So I can't even imagine I can't get people to know I have 2 N's in Glenn, let alone all those I's and L's.
Yeah. But for me,
but you've got 4 S's in Hausman.
Yeah. But that's it. So for me, it's really about working with people and really kind of helping, I don't like, sometimes it becomes a little bit demeaning when you say coaching or whatever, but I like mentoring and working with people and trying to help them and say, why don't we try it this way? And, I'm very even keeled, and I really, I love working with great people. And that's the best thing for me is that, I have somebody who worked with me in 3 companies, and, she's overseas, and she's just emailing me, hey, miss working with you. How you doing? And to me, that's the best, because those relationships, and you spend so much time with people on the job that, and I've been in a couple jobs where I've been miserable, and I'm like, I can't even imagine, being in that situation every day. That I would never want my team, my family, my staff, that them to be feeling the way I feel right now working for this person. So that always is in the back of my head driving me. So
that's a miserable feeling. I've had that a couple of times myself, and I'm sure Glenn has as well. you know, when you stop being a human being and caring about everybody, you know, and you start, you pull that noose a little tighter, nobody's going to work for you. They're just not. You're not going to get the results. You're not going to be profitable. And you've got to take care of your team. And this is a lesson that I'm hoping at some point in time that Wall Street learns. It's just as much about the stakeholders as it is the stockholders. And you've got to take care of everybody.
Yeah. David, I got a question, a little personal. How do you feel that Pedro Pascal beat you out for the role of Mr. Fantastic in Fantastic Four movie coming up?
Well, like I say, there's always behind the scenes, things that are happening. That's like even with Hotel Impossible, I tell Anthony that, I was never on the show because I was on the pilot and I did such a great job. He was afraid I was going to take his job. So he made sure I was cut. So it's kind of a similar thing. So there's people behind the scenes making sure that the right people don't get what they deserve, and so you just got to combat that. You got to wake up, fight another battle, wake up another day, and
you did a great job.
You would have taken it all on back end points, so those monkey points never pay off. I'm surprised they just didn't say, "Yeah, come on in here."
I've already done some. Equity teams that have really been great.
I love the gray hair. Just looks so Mr. Fantastic from the classic 80s comic books for sure. Believe it or not, it's already time for this. Hey, bro, we give you no love for Logic, so why don't you pimp it out as much as you can? It's the Plug-a-Palooza after all.
Yeah, real quick. So Logic, Logic, LODGIQ.com. We're basically a revenue management platform at our core that is really trying to get into the commercial strategy. And that's basically displaying data so that sales and marketing can do their jobs better. So we'll be at the hospitality show. We're always at High Tech. Got a great team there. And then we got the Modern Hotelier, which is our podcast. And then I'm also chairman of GAIN, which is a great organization that helps startups, hotel companies, really achieve their goals through senior experts who can come in and help and make sure that you don't make the mistakes that I always say we're kind of like sunscreen for companies. Like it's not that expensive, but if you get a sunburn on your vacation, your whole trip's ruined. So that's it. So and
Anthony is one of their advisors, but still use them anyway. Craig, what about you?
I think you have a couple of graphics to put up.
I do. Which graphic are we putting up?
Let's start out with.
Oh wait, I know. Yeah, hold on. Sorry.
Okay.
I can wait. Hold on.
Eighth annual California Lodging Investment Conference, March 5th and 6th. David will be there. Glenn will be there. Will you be there?
Will producer Dave be there?
Yes, he will. There he is, producer David in the flesh. So join us March 5th and 6th, 2025 at the Westin Long Beach. You can register right now at cliconference.com. And if you use the word early, you're going to save $200. So join us.
Awesome.
And then
I don't know what else are we supposed to do.
The other one for Click Connect, 10th anniversary. You have that one? I guess not. So anyhow,
it might be on one of the
shows back in production.
What? It might have been part of this one.
No, that's Friday Night Audit. That's the show we're doing right now, Glenn. But anyhow, Click Connect is back. We've got 4 episodes out there. Our 10th season. Producer Danny and I. We've got great guests. This season's going to be our best yet. So join us. That's the Lazy River from last year. So you're right there. You're right there.
At the park.
And
it's just I had one of these that there were multiple pages. There we
go.
That's what I was trying to find. It threw me off because the first.
Now, the second picture was Glenn and I at the Hollywood Bowl for fish. Yeah.
That's why I'm actually happy for once in my life. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. So 10th season. If you want to be a production partner, sponsor, or do an ad, give me a call. We'd love to have you on board for that. And if you want to be a guest, call me.
Nice.
Glenn, how are you? What do you got to plug?
What do I got to plug?
Road
Hey,
trip?
look at these people on the lazy river race. I shamed them, but I was the laziest lazy river winner this year. I was so lazy this year that not only did the second heat of men pass me by, but so did the women's heat immediately.
Did the ducks pass you?
What was that?
Did the rubber ducks pass you?
No, I did. I did get out before.
That would have been the trifecta.
Well,
The hat trick.
they had to pull me out, otherwise I was going to be interfering with the duck race. So it is what it is. Hey, but for real, come see me. I'll be in Hotel Spaces. I'm going to be. They just asked me to moderate a panel there, as well as the keynote speech I'm already going to be doing. That is on Monday, the 28th. Then I'm going to be jetting off to San Antonio, where I too will be at the hospitality show. I'll be representing the good folks over at Integra. Come check us out. I'll be doing a bunch of live interviews out of there. And what else is coming up? I don't know. November's going to be kind of quiet. I'm going to be going to DC. I'm going to be going to AC. I'm going to be going to Vegas. So a lot of fun stuff coming up. All right, everybody.
You're going to Palm Springs too.
Oh, yeah, that's hot. That's the Hotel Spaces event. I'll be in Palm Springs for the Hotel Spaces event. But next week, I'll also be doing some work with the good folks over at Choice Hotels, opening up the Everhome Suites in Chandler, Arizona. The 500th extended stay hotel portfolio, hotel in their portfolio. So looking forward to that. I'll be doing a video tour with those kind of folks. And then I'll be going to the La Quinta Resort in Palm Springs. So I'm really looking forward to that. And yes, I'm working hard. And no, I will not be having fun. Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks so much. See you next week. Or
Aloha!
thanks.
Back over the